exciting.
I know it's exciting. Good evening, everyone. And it's Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time, because that's where our author is coming from. And I am super excited to be sharing with you the last of this year, MYBC Virtual Bookstore Author Series. And just to recap, today's a pretty special day in my world. It was 1 year ago today that the birth of this idea came to be. And on December 29th, 2020, I interviewed my first author, which was Kathy Fester, with Diane Rolston's book. And it was a success story book collaboration. And she was my first guest. Over this past year, I've had the privilege, the pleasure, and be humbled by 40 authors sharing their journey on writing their books, whatever kind of book that has been. And I'm so grateful to the authors for sharing their time with me, because time currency is ultimately what we all have to spend wisely. And I want to give the shout out to the people that have referred me authors. Like, I know authors in my own personal sphere, but when a friend sends me people to say, hey, Jeanette, you need to feature this author, it means the world to me that I get this gift in my hand to be able to share the story. So shout out today to Miss Lisa Bellantoni for connecting me up with poetry author, Brooke Adkins. I told you my brain and my mouth sometimes don't work together, Brooke.
Okay.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I'm really excited.
So tell me, where are you on this big blue marble we call Earth this evening?
I am in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I just moved into this condo July 1st. So I have been residing in Florida in this area for 28 years.
Beautiful. Can I send you some snow? Because we have about 10 centimeters of snow where I am, and it's very cold.
No, it's been gorgeous here. We've had a gorgeous, beautiful Florida Christmas, and yeah, so that's why I live here.
Oh, you know what? You're tempting me. You're tempting me.
Come on down.
Brooke, what is your backstory? So what do you do for a living? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a dance educator. I teach full-time at a local public high school. I've had the dance program there for 18 years. I actually went back to school to get my degree in order to teach dance at that particular high school, and I've been there ever since for 18 years. It's the only school I've ever taught at.
Wow.
So, yeah, and it's my third career, so I'm still plugging right along. Yeah, so I've never not known dancing. I've never not remembered not dancing.
Oh,
so
beautiful. And what style of dance
well, I'm a bunhead, not anymore, but I'm a bunhead, so that's a ballet is my that's what I started with ballet. I graduated from a ballet academy in Washington, D.C. And so I've had to go out of my ballet comfort zone, and I teach all styles of dance in school.
Okay. That's beautiful. I've never heard of a high school having a dance program, like as a course for high school.
I'm so grateful here in Florida, especially this backward county that we live in. I think out of the 13 public high schools, we have 11 dance programs. We have dance in middle schools also. So it's been wonderful to have. How
many students do you have, Brooke?
I don't have very many right now. like, yeah. So, because of COVID, the program, we had to go virtual, and, it's really dropped a lot, our whole population. So I've had upward of 125,
Wow.
maybe 70 now. But I also teach international baccalaureate dance, and
Okay.
I'm the director of the dance ensemble. It's a concert group. Um, and they have a class and they perform outside of school.
There's a ironic, and I'm going to say voodoo, because Kathy Fester, my first author of this series, she's a music teacher, and she has her side gig, let's call it, or side passion, not really a gig, of
Mhm.
writing, being part of collaborative books. So this is fun. So now, from dance to what style of book have you written, Brooke?
It's poetry. I write poetry. I wrote my first poem when I was in the third grade. It was Daniel Boone, and my mother still has it, which
That's
is
beautiful.
amazing. But on and off, since I can remember, I've written poetry. And when I was isolated, and spent, oh gosh, maybe all of at least 2 months maybe in West Virginia, which is where I'm from, I started writing. And it was very therapeutic. And yeah, I think my birds saved my life.
So now let's get into the title, Birdsong. Where did that title come from?
Well, it's a poetry book about birds. And so Birdsong. And who knew there were all kinds of books called Birdsong? Because I didn't. So when you order it, you have to say by Brooke Adkins, and then it pops right up. But yeah, Birdsong. So
So what or how do birds inspire you to write poetry?
well, sitting alone, isolated, I sat on the deck of my bonus mom in West Virginia when I was there and was starting to write. And then when I came home, I sat on my back patio, which was this little oasis of woods tucked right in the middle of town. I felt as if I was out in the country, and I would sit there, and I've always loved to bird watch. Growing up, we had a bird feeder. I always loved to see how many different birds I could identify. And so I'd sit out there and just watch them and listen to them, and then the thoughts came and the feelings and the words.
That's so beautiful that you're able to connect to, I'm going to say, to source in a beautiful way, through birds. So what is the significance of the illustrations
Well,
in the book?
yes, I really have to say, Jen Evans is my illustrator, and we were connected through a colleague, and I sent her the poems.
Mhm.
And she said, your poetry is so unique, and it's very individual like you. What do you think about putting your thumbprint somewhere in the illustration of the birds? And I went, oh, brilliant. And so that's what she did. And then I wrote a poem about a robin,
Mhm.
and I read it to, and this is where Lisa Bellantoni comes in. Lisa and our friend Sandy get together every Friday night and have our chat. they're both in Canada and I'm here in Florida, but I would read my poems to them. And this is how this all got connected. But one in November of last November, I think it was, I read the poem about the robin.
Mhm.
And my friend Sandy started crying, and she told me the story of her son who was tragically killed. That when in Saskatchewan in the middle of November, when they were at the cemetery, a robin lighted right there in the cemetery on at his grave site. And a robin in the middle of winter in Saskatchewan, Canada.
I've been to Saskatchewan in the middle of the winter.
No, there are no birds.
So unusual.
Right. So she took that as a sign it was Keegan.
Mhm.
And so we had chills. And I said, would you happen to have his thumbprint?
Mm.
Well, when he passed away, one of his elementary school teachers sent Sandy a little medallion of clay with his thumbprint in it. And she got some paint and she pressed in some paper. And I took a picture of it, sent it to the illustrator, and she amazingly, I think you can see the
I can
whorls.
totally see it. To the naked eye at a distance, it would look like feathers, laying feathers.
Yes.
But
Well,
when that is absolutely stunning. Like, and
it's
simply not to cry.
Keegan's thumbprint. So I dedicated that. I had no idea. And I decided to dedicate Robin's Return in memory of Keegan. It says, look closely at the robin's red breast. You will see Keegan's thumbprint.
And Keegan's heart laying close underneath it.
And it's so, this is why, this is the purpose, you know, this is the whole purpose. You know, if I didn't know, I know now.
Oh,
So
just so beautiful. So I'd love for you to choose a poem to read to us this evening.
I'll read Robin's Return. As the rain drizzles down in the morning and the morning slowly begins, dozens of birds seek shelter in the tree, shaking off the droplets with spasms of joy. In the dimness of the day, the shadows of the tree, I can't tell who they are until dozens of robins gather in the yard. Ah, you have returned. You have found me.
I can so picture knowing a robin in its red breast that they turn and this big flash of red come to you. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So what does the future look like for Brooke? What is Brooke working on right now?
Well, so I'm so glad you asked.
You almost feel like that commercial where it goes,
I'm
but wait,
I'm so glad,
more.
but wait, there's more. So there are several things. My second book of poetry is 111, and I chose that number because it's an angel number.
Right?
111, 11, ones. They're very significant. They're angel numbers. So I have 111 poems, and they will be compiled into my second book, which is Songs in the Key of C, parentheses, OVID. So, and those were all written, of course, during this era, and a lot deeper and darker than my sweet poetry book about birds, a lot deeper and darker. So I'm I have shared Birdsong with some school-age children. Oh, and this is another why. One of my friends had me on a Teams meeting, like a Zoom meeting with her
Right.
first grade gifted students, and they wrote poems and they put their thumbprint in the illustrations. And then they read them. We had another meeting, and then they read them to me. Oh, I was just in awe. I couldn't believe it. So if I bring, this little book to people and it influences them or gives them this idea to do something that they would never think that they could or would do, then that's all worth it. But children can read that book, but not the second one, because it's a lot darker. And
There's a bit of an analogy there that we've all lived through the last 18, almost coming up to 2 years now, and depending on where in the world you are watching from, that we're up there with the birds. There was so much high level thinking and not knowing and flying all over the place, and for lack of a better word, flying by the seat of our pants up there. And now for you to bring that down to rest in the questions, I'm presuming, of the poetry and the darkness and the joy. There's got to be some joy in there somewhere as well. Have you got anything that you would like to share with us? I love poetry.
I'm so glad you do.
It's like what was I going to say? It's like an amuse-bouche. Like it's which is French for like a little taste of something when you go to a restaurant, and you get the wholeness of it very quickly but very deeply.
Yes, and it can mean whatever it means for you at the time, and it can be different for. I mean, it's as individual as each person is.
Much like our case.
What meaning they gather from it. And before I do, so Birdsong 2 I have Birdsong 2. It'll be 11 poems of birds, and it's Birdsong 2, and I will be using the same illustrator, Jen Evans. So that's already like packaged up in a file. That'll be ready to go. So yeah, I just keep writing. It just keep writing.
Well, before you share your poem again, I see myself in the experience here. So thank you for allowing me to kind of go into my thought process here. Is those children, those gifted children in grade 1, filled your soul to bring the spirit back out of you. It's that whole infinity, soul satisfying. So I'm so looking forward to your next poem.
So I'll give you this was actually so I have like 4 notebooks full. And this one was right at the beginning when I first started, when we were out of school, and it was early. I'm not sure. So let's see, March, April. It was probably in May, to give you an idea, May 2020. And so there were a lot of horrible things happening, and so you'll be able to tell where this came from by the title. It's called I Can't Breathe. In my life, when anxiety has flooded my soul, I have uttered these words, gasping for air, grasping answers or solutions out of thin air. I have uttered these words, able to breathe deep, slow, and steady. Those words left me, and calm brought me back to myself. I can't breathe. Words that have now taken on a more profound, horrific meaning, one I cannot fathom for myself. Now the words I must utter are I can breathe, I can act, I can live a life and share a love so that one day those words may never be uttered again.
Okay, I got the little chill bumps, the little chill bumps there. That is deep. And that anyone reading that will have the flashbacks or the pictures that will come to their mind to that moment in time where they had that realization is, no, what I can do. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And I can do this. And kind of flipped on its head, the things that we were told we weren't allowed to do to, however, I can still do this and I can still do this. I can still take pen to paper. I can still sit in peace. I can still write the book. That's incredible. So when's the target date for book 2 to come out?
That's a good question, Jeanette. I have to find a publisher.
Okay.
But soon, actually, it'll be soon. So
okay, well,
everything's ready. I just I have to figure out, how I'm going to illustrate that. It's not like a lovely picture book like Birdsong. It will just have. I'm thinking like inking, pen and ink kind of thing, and yeah.
Well, if you are a publisher out there and this particular genre interests you, maybe Carrie, I've interviewed Carrie as a publisher and also an author a couple of months ago. If you're watching this on the replay, reach out and connect up with Brooke. Well, Brooke, it's been an absolute joy. Another shout out to Lisa for connecting us up together, and your words to paper will mean a lot to the reader. I often say that the authors bring the words and the reader takes the story and takes the story and makes it their own. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
You get to celebrate New Year's 3 hours before I do. So I wish you a very happy New Year. I look forward to booking you again when book 2 comes out, and we can talk about that. You might have noticed that I didn't have any comments going on. I use Zoom over to Facebook. I'm not in another service because I do like to stay present for my authors while I'm talking to them. That's their gift. That's my gift, because they're giving me the present of their time, the presence of their time. So we'll make sure that Brooke puts her information link on where we can get your book ordered and get it shipped to them. And hey, why don't you start the new year with a bird song in your heart, and you will definitely have a great 2022. So thank you again, Brooke. Enjoy the night, everybody, and grab a book, go to the couch with a cup of tea, and take your mind and bring your heart, and you're going to learn something new. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.